Well, The Expanse Season 5 is coming up quick, so I thought I'd get my review of Season 4 out. Now, I'd actually seen Season 4 before the Season 5 trailer came out, I just hadn't had a chance to get the review out yet. I'm going to try and keep it very short. I know, I always say that, but this time I actually am going to.
She lied! She lied!
It's been a few weeks since I've seen Season 4, and because of all the other projects I've had going, I haven't had a chance to give you my thoughts yet. I liked it. I really did. I'm not going to do a non-spoiler section. I suppose setting up the first episode, like I always do, will be non-spoiler, but pretty much the whole thing's going to be spoilers. I'd say most of us who are listening to this have seen the 4th season, and we're looking forward to Season 5. I am planning on doing a few Expanse videos, maybe video essays before Season 5 comes out. Apart from that, though, can you make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to hear my views on TV and film? I release a new video every Thursday, which either is a review, or it's some new news coming out, or it could even be a video essay about a TV show or a film that I've seen in the past or in the present. Not in the future. Oh, unless we're time travelers, where you all know me. If only. But anyway, I've got a podcast every Monday, and I've changed it to Friday. It used to be Monday and Saturday. I've changed it to Monday and Friday. So Monday and Friday is when the After Dark podcast comes out. And that's a podcast in which I take my friend, Conrad, through episodes of Dark, one episode at a time. At the minute, we're halfway through Season 2. After we finish Dark, we'll probably be moving on to a different series, which I want your input on. We've got a few ideas of what to do, but we want your input on which series to go to, okay? And then every Tuesday, I have Dark discussions, which is I go through Dark and analyze it to a much higher degree than I probably should. Anyway, let's get into The Expanse. All right, so The Expanse Season 4 takes place after the ring has opened up. The proto-molecule has connected our solar system to the rest of the universe, it seems, through a multitude of little wormholes, tunnels. And because of this, obviously there's certain members of the government who are not really looking forward to the idea of Earth expanding out really quickly. And Avasarala has got her doubts about this. And so she sets up a blockade to stop Belters and other people getting through. Now, there are some Belters who manage to get through, and they go to Ilus, they call it, Ilus, or the Earthers are calling it New Terra. So they go and they set up a camp there. Now, Avasarala then decides to send Holden and the crew of the Rocinante down to Ilus to have a look at what's a potential proto-molecule exposure, I suppose, because there is a proto-molecule present on that planet. So they go. As well as that, Earth and Mars, I think I got the impression that they jointly, well, they both supported it anyway. They sent some scientists down as well. And before I get into talking about what I feel, I just want to say, this guy, Burn Gordon, that's his name, Burn Gordon. Has there ever been an actor who has been more typecast? As soon as you see this guy, as soon as you see him, you're just like, well, he's going to be the bad guy. And then a week after I saw this, I also watched Enola Holmes, the new Netflix film, and he's the bad guy in that too. He's the most typecast person of all time, in my opinion. It's unbelievable. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger, not typecast as much as this guy. So let's get back to it then. So the way that this series, this season was set up, it was really interesting because I'd been warned by a few people in the comments that this was going to be the beginning of a new story. So The Expanse was like 3 trilogies, and the season 3 was the end of that first trilogy. And this series really did feel like a setup. It felt like not that type of setup like you're trying to pull a joke on me. A setup as in they're setting up for what's to come. Okay, so this one really, really felt like, okay, so we're in this world now. The established world of this second trilogy of The Expanse is that we can travel between different universes. What am I talking about? That's absolutely, I think I said that earlier as well. Oh my God, how ridiculous. Different solar systems and different galaxies. Universes. Right, so traveling between different solar systems and galaxies, that's just the world we've set up now. So obviously at the start of the first trilogy, that's the season 1, that was nowhere near. But now we're in this new one. And now they're sort of tentatively putting their fingers and arms out into these worlds and see what they can do. Now, what did I think of the actual design of the new world they get to? It wasn't like the idyllic place like in Avatar, for example, when they find the new world. It wasn't that sort of thing. It was very much stark, abandoned, almost post-apocalyptic in a way. Ironically, it looks a lot like Earth will probably look after global warming has taken its toll and all that sort of thing. So they've basically got to the point where Earth is almost ruined, because they always talk about how Earth has take advantage of it. And even now their new planet, their new world isn't what they used to have. It's almost like they've got what they deserve with the new planet that the humans have now. Because it's not like they ruined one green, lush, beautiful place and then just went on to another one. No, even the one they went on to was a post-apocalyptic, like desert-like, abandoned place. So I really like the sort of poetry of that. And then obviously there's also these structures, which definitely there's protomolecule in them. I think they made of the protomolecule. It's interesting because they're made of the protomolecule, but the protomolecule doesn't actually seem to be always contagious. You know how in the first season, even up to the third season, if you touched it, you could become sick, I suppose, radioactive. You could eventually get taken over and die. So it's not that's all the protomolecule doesn't seem to be that. Maybe that's just what they were experimenting on. The Earthers were. I'm not quite sure in what way the protomolecule is contagious and what way it's not. That, to be honest with you, I have to look more into. So maybe you could clarify that for me. But definitely, I enjoyed the idea of them, Holden's team going down. I liked that the Belters didn't trust them. I also liked that the Belters' prediction that they're coming down to get us off the planet was actually true. Now, obviously, we all know the intricacies of that. It wasn't exactly, Holden didn't want to take the planet from them, but they did actually eventually go to them and say, you need to leave, because it wasn't going to be safe for them because of these machines that were being turned on. Basically, all these different structures around the whole planet started getting turned on, and Miller, who's still in Holden's head, made him put his hand in and activate it. And then there was like this tidal waves and everything coming. It was going to kill everyone unless something was done about it. So that added a lot of tension into the show, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, that was really great. So in terms of the actual design of the structures, it's really interesting because there wasn't really any, well, until they went further into the actual thing at the very end, where they went down in Miller and they saw the circle of to turn off all the structures. But the actual design of the structures themselves, like, they look really cool. They look very alien. They look very like not of human, definitely. But there was no futuristic element to it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like the aliens had like touch screens, or the aliens had, like they could interact with things. We sort of look at that structure and we have no idea what the protomolecule or whoever made this structure or whatever, how they actually interact with this thing. Because it was just like big black walls and black this. So I'm sure like maybe there's some sort of communication within the walls. Maybe they can communicate with each other through it. Maybe they're one with the structure. I'm not quite sure, but it was very stark, very sort of muted in design. It wasn't like over designed. It looked very alien, but it wasn't over the top, and I really liked that. I thought it was really interesting that there was underneath the surface of the planet, they were like a web throughout the whole planet, and obviously that was like did aliens actually live on that planet, and did they live within those structures, or are those structures just there for another reason? Were the structures built by the protomolecule like the rings were? It's really interesting to me. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, because obviously as we move through this second trilogy, the middle 3 seasons of The Expanse, we're gonna have the curtain drawn back on this slowly but surely, and the intrigue for me is really, really high. It's just like back in season 1 when I was really intrigued. What is the protomolecule? They've managed to get me back into that intrigue again, in terms of these structures, in terms of what was on this planet before, in terms of what humans are going to do now. Because humans, they've left their solar system. Now they have to. So are they going to properly send more people through to set up camp here? Are they going to leave that planet completely because they are going to let the Belters have it and sort of see what happens to the Belters as sort of an experiment? It's really interesting to me. Right. Okay. So. A few points that I wanted to make. I'm not gonna go through every beat of the whole series. As I say, I'm trying to keep this video shorter than my normal review. As I say, I'm trying to keep this review shorter than my normal reviews, because I do rabbit on an awful lot. You know me. But I will say there's a few things that I wanted to point out. Whenever they all started going blind, from the bacteria or whatever that was, microorganism in their eyes. I thought that was so interesting, and so unique. The idea that there's that being affected by an alien planet in that way was really fresh. I thought I really enjoyed that aspect where they had no idea, and everyone was eventually going blind, and they had no idea how to stop it, and they had no idea what to do. And I love the idea that it wasn't. And yes, there was those flying things and the slugs as well. Like there was those actual really sizable animalistic-y kind of threats as well, like you would expect on an alien planet. But the actual bacteria or the microorganism in the eye, which was making them go blind, was really well done, I thought. Because that is, when you think of like getting tension or getting, excitement out of a series, you don't think, right, let's have these invisible little microorganisms that are in their eye and they're eventually going to make them blind. It's an interesting idea that, in my mind, most people before they even wrote it would say, no, we need something more exciting, more cool, But they didn't go with that, and it really worked. It felt like really realistic to me. The idea that just even things as small as those microorganisms are not compatible with humans, because humans haven't lived on that planet. We haven't grown and evolved with those things in our environment. So I just really enjoyed that, and it really made me feel like it was realistic. As well as that, obviously, you along with me, whether you read the books the first time or whether you watched the show the first time, I'm sure you all assumed that Holden wasn't going blind because of his connection with the proto-molecule. I assumed that. Of course I did. And I really liked, and I was really caught off guard, to be honest with you, with the idea that it wasn't that at all. It was actually just the cancer anti-radiation medication that he was taking because of his exposure back on the Eros station. That really, again, I'm gonna say, like, it was really unique. It was a bait and switch, definitely. It was a definite bait and switch, but it was one that when the switch happened, it was like, I didn't even feel like, oh, of course. I didn't feel like that. I felt like, oh, that is really cool. I didn't even think about that. It's been set up that he has this commune with the protomolecule. So obviously, I thought that was what was going to save his eyes, but no. The slugs as well. Jeez, what a very simple and slow yet scary enemy in the show. It was really great. I wanted to mention Amos, who I think I mentioned in the third season review. Amos is quickly becoming my favorite character. He's definitely my favorite character, I think. I like the fact, I love the idea that he is now getting, I love the idea that Amos is now getting a load of character work put into him in terms of he's learning to empathize, and he's sort of making an effort to empathize. Right there, pal. Where were we? Right, okay, so Amos has got a lot of work being put into him now because of they're sort of building his empathy, and he's realized, I remember he realized with the scientist back in season 2, I think it was, he realized speaking to him that actually maybe I don't have any empathy for some reason, because the scientist had an operation. I'm sort of leaning away from the idea that Amos had an operation to make him unempathetic, but definitely he has realized within himself that he's not, and I think he's going to travel back to Earth, back to where he's from, to try and get to the bottom of that. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be great. Okay, so I wanted to mention as well, very quickly, how cool it was whenever Miller took control of part of the proto-molecule machinery, and he sort of became this weird, like, praying mantis type thing, and eventually jumped through the circle. Jeez, that was, again, I keep saying it, but season 4 was throwing a load of stuff at me that I wasn't expecting. I really wasn't expecting that, but it was really cool. I just wanted to mention that was really cool. Overall, was the season successful at setting up a new trilogy or a new story? Yes, it was. I'm really intrigued going forward. I really want to find out what's going to happen in terms of Earth and Mars's opinions towards the ring now. Are they going to send more people through? Are they going to hold back? Are the Belters going to send more people through to Illis? Are they going to create a real proper Belter home? I like the idea of the intrigue of the proto-molecule. What's going on with that? What's going on with these bases and these structures? I really want to find out more about that. Bobby, I didn't even mention Bobby at all, but I can't wait to see Bobby. I know in season 5 she joins back up with Alex, whether that's on the Rocinante or not. Eventually, I'm not sure, but Bobby's a really cool character. I like that idea of her joining up back with the crew and seeing where she goes. Her whole storyline this season, I did enjoy it. I really was intrigued. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being on Mars with her. I think I said in my season 3 review that I want to see more of Mars. I'm really happy we saw more of Mars. I like the idea that we saw how that works. Her sort of journey into the crime world was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Having said that, if they were to focus on just Bobby on Mars for another season, I probably would start getting bored. So it's the right time to get her back into space, back with the Rocinante crew. Excellent. In terms of the style of the series, was there a different style compared to the first 3 seasons? Because this is an Amazon Prime season now. So the first 3 were, what were they on? Sci-Fi? I'm not quite sure what they were on. I think it was Sci-Fi. So in what way was it different? Because I know a lot of people saying it wasn't different because it's the same writers and everything. In my mind, it was actually a little different. Was it different in huge ways? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The style of it was definitely different. Whenever they went onto the planet, onto Ilus, and they were on that planet, the aspect ratio of the screen changed. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but anytime they were on Ilus, it actually, there was 2 black bars at the top, the black bar at the top and bottom of the screen. The ratio changed, and it became a lot more cinematic. Now that was obviously a decision they made to do that. I personally am not really a fan of different aspect ratios in different parts of a show or film. I don't really like that some part of a show has the black bars and the other part of the show doesn't. I like a show to have a consistent aspect ratio. Having said that, when used artistically for a reason, I don't mind it. Okay, so I didn't mind it. It grew on me very quickly in the Expanse, that aspect ratio shift, and eventually I just stopped noticing it. But it definitely is there. Also, the style of the direction and the cinematography and things was very different whenever they were on Ilus. It's almost like they were making 2 different things. They were, whenever they were like trekking across the ground, across to the structures and stuff, it was very long, very cinematic shots of them walking through, very different to anything from season 1, 2, and 3. Season 1, 2, and 3 was very much like boom, 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 advert break, boom, 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 advert break, boom, 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 advert break. This didn't have that. Didn't have that stop for the advert. So the season 1, 2, and 3 very much had the feel of an older TV show where you watch it on actual TV channels rather than watching it on like streaming services or something without ads, because it does build up to the advert break and then it goes black and then up to the advert break, whereas season 4 didn't have that. So another thing which was very, very obvious in terms of being different from season 1, 2, and 3 was that there was a lot more swearing. Naomi loved the F word in this. She absolutely loved it. So I find that a lot with TV shows whenever they come onto streaming services, they do go a lot harder on the swearing. Not that they wasn't swearing in the Expanse 1, 2, and 3, but I just felt like they used it a little too liberally for me. They could have maybe built into that more. But just from the start, they were like, right, okay, we're on Amazon Prime now. Let's swear. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what they wanted. Like, I'm not against swearing. Jesus, like, swear as much as you want. I love a show that swears, but at the same time, because I felt different to me from the first 3 seasons, I kind of felt like that was maybe what they wanted to do from the start, but because they were on like terrestrial normal TV, they couldn't do that. Maybe they always wanted to have that level of swearing. Maybe that's what the books are like, but it definitely felt different. Not worse, not better, different. Okay. Yeah. So apart from that, probably should just mention Naomi really quick. It was cool the way that she wanted to go on under the gravity of Ilus and then wasn't able to. That whole storyline was pretty cool too. I've mentioned before in the comments that Naomi's probably my least favorite character. Yeah, probably is. Although I don't dislike Naomi. Let's be honest. I don't dislike her. The accent changing, I made a joke about that in my last video, but the accent changing does kind of annoy me. And even though it's, probably is a bit of world building, it's kind of like, going in going home and changing. You know, it was a bit strange to me, to be honest with you. I don't like how she has a real belter accent when she talks to the belters, and almost a full just English accent when she speaks to the human the Earthers and stuff. I don't really. It kind of takes me out of it, to be honest with you. I'm not convinced on the actress who plays Naomi. Definite real strong moments, definite real weak moments for me. Having said that, she's I like the character. I do. When I look above all that superficial meta analysis of the show, I like the character Naomi. It's just that, in my opinion, in a show with such strong characters, she's probably one of the weakest for me. I'm sure I missed a whole awful lot, but if you want to ask me in the comments to comment on anything else, let me know. Apart from that, thanks for watching. I can't wait for season 5. Look for some more Expanse content coming soon. Apart from that, nothing to say. See you later.